Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom, to the KC Sports Report. As always, I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I'm going to break down the Week 8 matchup between the New York Jets and the Kansas City Chiefs. Final score from Arrowhead Stadium, Chiefs 35, Jets 9. The Chiefs win this game at home to advance to 7-1 on the season. I mean, what a game. The Chiefs just absolutely obliterated the Jets at home, but it was a game that everybody expected us to win. In fact, Vegas coming into this game had the Chiefs at 19.5-point favorites. And I'm proud to say that the Chiefs did cover the point spread and beat the Jets by more than 3 touchdowns. And it is the Jets who are not very good this year. In fact, they're 0-8, but a win's a win. And when you win by more than 3 touchdowns against any team in the NFL, you got to take pride in it. But I still think the Chiefs could have played better. At least on the defensive side of the ball. On offense, they were firing on all cylinders. Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to say this right now, and everybody better listen. Patrick Mahomes just cemented his case in the running for the MVP. He was just on fire. He had a phenomenal game. He threw for 5 touchdowns and more than 400 yards. He was just absolutely amazing. He had touchdown passes to Tyreek. He had touchdown passes to Miko. He had touchdown passes to Travis Kelce. He was just distributing the ball all over the field. But, it was just an amazing game. From the beginning to the end, the Chiefs' offense was on fire. And, the defense, in my opinion, played very well. They could have played better, but they still had a bit of trouble stopping the run. I'm not going to lie. Frank Gore was able to get more yards than I would have liked. And their young running back also got a lot of yards too. So I think the Chiefs' defense can sure things up on the ground game. You got to stop the Jets' running game if you want to beat good teams later down the year. So I think that there are ways that we can take some things away from this game that we can improve, but the Chiefs played a phenomenal game, and the Jets didn't, and that's why we won. But again, this is the type of game that I expect the Chiefs to win. You're favored by damn near 3 touchdowns, and you're at home. And the Chiefs went out, and they didn't take this as a trap game because, Chris Jones and Andy Reid said that this Jets team was good. I thought that was ridiculous, but you know what? That is why the Chiefs are able to win these games because they take every game seriously. You cannot underestimate any team in the NFL. Even though I personally underestimated the Jets alongside most people out there, that's why the Chiefs are the best. They don't underestimate, and they play every team like they're the Steelers, like they're the Titans, like they're the Ravens. So, that's great to see, and I'm glad that the Chiefs are taking every game seriously. But, what can I say? At the end of the day, the Chiefs are just by far and away a better team. There really isn't much to talk about because the Chiefs dominated practically every aspect of this game. Defense, offense, special teams. The Chiefs did it all. They really did. One negative is that Mecole Hardman had a fantastic game, but he left the game in the fourth quarter with a leg injury. It looked somewhere around the hamstring or the groin. And, it's really unfortunate because at that time, all the starters were out. They took Mahomes out. They took Kelce out. It was Chad Henne and the second and third string offensive weapons. And to see one of our starters or third-string wide receivers in Mecole Hardman go down, you don't like to see it. And it looks like he's going to miss at least a week or 2. But I could be wrong. We're going to have to wait and see. But, Chiefs Kingdom, how you feeling? This was just another example of the Chiefs beating up on a team that, that they do every year. They just seem to love to beat up on these low-life, bottom-feeder teams, and that's why they're so good. I think that there are positives that we can take, though, because, like I said, Patrick Mahomes had a phenomenal game. The man single-handedly basically scored all of our points. He had a touchdown pass to Demarcus Robinson, Travis Kelce, 2 to Tyreek Hill, and I believe Hardman got in the end zone as well. So he was just distributing the ball all over the field, and it seemed like everybody had a catch or everybody at least got to touch the ball 1 or 2 times. Le'Veon Bell was going up against his former team, and even though he didn't get a ton of carries or a ton of snaps, I think that he understands that he got his revenge in being on a championship contender. Even though he didn't personally produce a ton today. I mean, it wasn't a game where the running backs really got any touches. It just wasn't. I mean, it was Patrick Mahomes' day, obviously, but I mean, the Chiefs just looked like they were having fun. I mean, Travis Kelce, after he caught a touchdown pass, did his best Tony G impression and dunked it over the goalpost. Travis Kelce also was able to manipulate that Jets defense and get big chunks of yardage. Tyreek Hill was able to catch a touchdown pass, and Mahomes gave him a piggyback ride to the sideline. I mean, the Chiefs are just having fun. I mean, this is what you love to see. The guys are out there having fun, winning games, just playing all-around good football. And, I still think they're going to get better. I mean, this defense still has room to get better. The run defense is still ranked 30th, and in my opinion, that's really our only weakness. Other teams can run the ball, but at the end of the day, if you cannot score points, you're not going to win. The Jets, to their credit, in the first half, were able to move the ball, but when it came time to make a play, they couldn't do it. And that's because the Chiefs defense was able to shut them down when it really mattered. And they had to settle for field goals. And like everybody says time and time again, you cannot beat this Chiefs team if you settle for field goals. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this was a great win, but it's also the Jets. And when you're a championship contender like the Chiefs, you cannot get too overconfident by beating the brakes off a team that is trying to tank. So it's a great win, and I think that there are some positives that you can take from it, but we're on to next week. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Even though our offense played great, our defense was pretty good for the most part, you still got to move on. I think that this rushing defense has to get better, and pretty much besides that, I have no complaints. I think that the offensive line was kind of hit or miss today. Mahomes really wasn't under pressure like he was last week against Denver, but at the same time, Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire weren't able to have that kind of impact. So, at the end of the day, this was a game that the Chiefs were heavily favored in, and they didn't take this game lightly, and I want to give them credit for that. And Patrick Mahomes came out and lit that sorry Jets defense on fire. I mean, like I said, Patrick Mahomes has put himself in the MVP race, and we're going to have to cover a lot more about his spectacular season going forward. But this was all around a great win. Harrison Butker finally stepped it up and didn't miss an extra point today. And like I said, Patrick Mahomes was distributing the ball to all his offensive weapons. Travis Kelce had a monster game. Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman also had big games as well. I mean, this is what you like to see. Mahomes is utilizing all his weapons to his advantage, and nobody can stop it. And that's why the Chiefs are so good. So moving forward, I want to see the same thing. I think that this offense has to continue to run through Patrick Mahomes because like we saw today, that's where all of our points come from. When Patrick Mahomes wants to make a play, he makes a play. And that's just how good he is. So I think that this was a great win, but at the end of the day, we're moving on towards next week's game against the Carolina Panthers. So, once again, the Chiefs beat the Jets at Arrowhead Stadium by a final score of 35-9, proving again that the Chiefs are a very tough team to beat in the AFC. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, like and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also support the channel through the Patreon and follow us on Instagram. The links to those are in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report by Michael Darcy.